Paranormal Punches is part of the Podbelly Network. Go to podbelly.com for more great podcasts.
Hey, y'all. This is Frank the Bigfoot, and you're listening to the Paranormal Punchers.
Hey, friends. Welcome to another episode of Paranormal Punchers. Should be a fun one. Nash is already irritating the heck out of me.
And Alicia, too.
Mark.
I'm Alicia.
I'm Nash.
I'm Dave.
Hey, Dave's here.
Yay.
Woo.
Welcome
He
back.
made it back from his trip to the
Hollow Earth.
Hollow Earth.
Right?
Yeah.
And they have a lot of curry in the Hollow Earth, right?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, that's good stuff. Some
Yep.
Penang curry. My favorite.
We're glad you're back safe.
Yeah.
It's not from India, but, you know.
Not 100% healthy.
Right.
He
Yeah.
picked a little bug up on the way.
Yeah. Well, but I think I got that when I got back. So
We made him take 5 tests to make sure he was showing negative before we
Yep.
could even be in his presence.
right. Yep. Yep. No COVID. No anything like that. So.
Well, good. Good. Because we don't want to die to do this podcast. But we're happy to see you, though.
Right.
Either way.
Speaking of dying, let's move along.
Nice. That was nice.
We are going to talk about the Devil's Rocking Chair. You may know the man who owns the chair at this moment in time. That would be Zak Bagans. We're going to tell you a little bit about the chair itself, what happened, its history, and then finish off Zak.
What?
With
I didn't know there was that kind of show.
with Zak and some stuff that happened to him.
Right.
Yeah.
Owning the Devil's Rocking Chair. And then on the second half, we got some listener paranormal stories, some feedback, and some other fun. So let's go.
All right. So the Devil's Rocking Chair appears to be a seemingly normal-looking rocking chair, but it has been known to cause many paranormal and unexplained things to happen to those unfortunate to sit in it or even be in its vicinity. Now, before we can talk about the paranormal stuff, we have to talk about where this chair came from and why it is the way it is. Our story begins with the Glatzel family in Connecticut. In the summer of
So professional.
I know, I'm trying. I wrote that. So.
It's like, which show do you think you're on?
In the summer of 1980, 11-year-old David Glatzel woke up screaming and in absolute terror. He told his family that he had seen a ghostly figure that looked like a man with black eyes, pointed ears, horns, and hooves, and he had a thin, gaunt face with spiky teeth. He wasn't the same after this nightmare and became socially withdrawn and disconnected from everything. Each night, he would have recurring dreams, or nightmares, of this man who promised to take his soul. It eventually progressed from the dreams to actual physical evidence. David would regularly wake up covered in bruises, scratches, or strange markings that happened in his sleep. It didn't take long before he stopped seeing this man just in his dreams and actually saw him or it during the day. Odd sounds were also heard in the attic that couldn't be explained.
Yeah, now he started seeing the beast, the devil, in his waking hours sitting in
Yeah.
the rocking chair.
Yeah.
Now, nobody else could see it, but they would see the chair moving
Yeah.
on its own.
Yeah. They believed that and they started calling him the Beast, or at least David was calling it the Beast. The Beast's favorite spot in the house happened to be the rocking chair. They would see it slowly rocking back and forth with no one in it, and they could see. I'm sorry. And David said that the devil was sitting in it.
You think the devil was just like taking a break?
I don't know.
Because, I mean, he figures if it's the devil and there's just some chair sitting there and he's just kind of sitting in the chair chilling, I figure the devil's got a pretty busy schedule.
Yeah.
And just to kind of chill out in this chair, either it wasn't truly the devil, or the devil is like maybe a union worker and has to take so many breaks per day. I don't know.
I was just thinking it was more like, I know this possession is going to take a long time.
Yeah.
And, well, I'm just going to sit down and this rocking chair is really.
It's pretty
comfy.
nice. I mean, yeah, I didn't tell if it was like butt contoured, or if it was just old style, or it was just flat. But I mean, you can sit in a rocking chair for a while and just kind of check things out, relax, a little peace and quiet. You know what I'm saying?
I wish you were sitting in a rocking chair right now in the other room.
Wow.
And that rocking chair has like cushions on it. So, it's got to be really comfortable.
Right.
Just imagine if that sucker had a cup holder.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you'd have been there forever.
Right.
You're the kind of guy that has a cup holder in his riding lawnmower, right?
No, actually.
So you can drink beers while you mow?
Actually, it doesn't. I have to use a backpack or a helmet.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Okay, so the family had no choice at this point but to invite a priest to come in and banish this evil spirit or spirits. But all this seemed to do was provoke whatever was there.
It pissed him off.
Yeah. David began hissing and spitting and speaking foreign languages and quoting Paradise Lost.
And if you're not familiar with that, maybe you are. I don't know. Dave, are you familiar with Paradise Lost?
Okay.
Well, I wasn't.
Yeah.
It's John Milton's. Or John Milton's the writer, but from Goodreads' description, Paradise Lost is one of the greatest epic poems in the English language. It tells the story of the fall of man, a tale of immense drama and excitement, of rebellion and treachery, of innocence pitted against corruption, in which God and Satan fight a bitter battle for control of mankind's destiny.
Oh, boy.
That sounded like it was the like a commercial for a movie, the very beginning of a movie. That was really nice.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's where the quote "better to rule in hell than to serve in heaven" comes from.
Oh, nice.
Ooh,
Look at you, Dave.
I know.
You go to the Hollow Earth, come back all full of stuff to talk about.
All full of literary knowledge.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah. So David, he also began having more frequent visions. And the family started taking turns watching him at night to keep him kind of in control and to assist because he was also starting to have seizures. Now, Ed and Lorraine Warren. Wow.
Lorraine.
Lorraine.
That's what Ed said. He was like,
Lorraine.
Hey, Lorraine.
Oh, boy. Ed and Lorraine Warren were eventually contacted. Now, they worked with priests to perform exorcisms on David. So, like, not just one.
Yeah.
They did
Multiple.
Multiple.
Yeah. Many times they did this. They also did it while he was sitting in the rocking chair. And then I have like an aside here. They also did state that they did see the chair move by itself, like the family had seen it. But they also claimed to see it levitate.
Yeah, I was going to say it levitated.
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought I saw somewhere now. I don't know if it said it levitated while they were doing an exorcism, but I imagine that's kind of one of the times it would be like they're doing their spraying the water in the hole.
Yeah, it levitated, but it would disappear and reappear.
Yeah.
In different rooms of the house.
Yeah. Sometimes it would just appear in the same spot, but yes, it would also appear in other rooms. Now, after many exorcisms, I can't speak today, I'm sorry.
Exorcisms?
Yeah. The devil or demon was drawn out of David's body, and he seemed to have control over himself again, and the family felt free from this force, but it didn't last very long. Now, I didn't mention this, but how do you say his name?
Arnie Johnson.
Yeah, he lived with the family for a time also to assist with David, and he is the fiance of David's sister.
Brown chicken, brown cow. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Was he the fiance before and then just said, I'll stay with the kid and help him? Or did he come in to help the kid and was like, hey, how you doing?
No.
Well, he was there during the final exorcism, and he even was yelling, at the demon, the devil, whatever's possessing the little kid, like, leave my little buddy alone. Take me, get out of him, take me. And it seems he was listened to.
That's what happened. Yeah.
Dave, I felt like that gigantic pause I took. You like leaned over, like, what's he gonna say?
No, I was.
You look so excited.
I was making a joke inside my head of the, it was wrong of him to say, I got dibs on the rocking chair and run over and sit on it right after the exorcism was done.
He's like,
that's what you were thinking?
It looks so comfy. I wanted to get some of that.
All right.
So Arnie, he began acting very odd, and he was not himself at all, even hissing and having the same visions that David was having. Months later, he eventually ended up murdering his landlord by stabbing him multiple times.
Was it with like a little buck knife, a little like
A pocket knife or something?
Yeah, a little pocket knife. Yeah.
And he claimed in court that he was not responsible for his actions due to being under demonic possession. And of course, this was the first time
That actually worked.
It didn't work.
But he claimed it though.
Yeah, he that was the first time somebody had ever said, I was possessed, so I can't be in control of like what was happening here. But
I try to do that every time something happens in the house.
You blame it on
a devil possessed me. A demon possessed me.
Oh, boy.
Why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do the dishes? I don't know. I was possessed by a devil. A demon possessed me to do something else. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
To
does it work for you?
Oh, yeah. Oh, it works great.
Yeah.
So it's like, no, this demon possessed me to play Halo instead of cleaning the house.
Right.
I got to listen. I'm sorry.
Right.
Yeah.
We got Stephanie on the line. Stephanie, does that ever work?
No.
Okay, there we go. Thank you.
Now, the Warrens, they did back him up, but the jury didn't buy it, or the judge didn't buy it, and he was convicted of first-degree manslaughter.
What?
Oh, mansliders.
Mansliders. Woohoo!
Now that's an appetizer.
What did you have for dinner? Well, I had 3 mansliders. I had the jalapeno, the black bean manslaughter, and the All-American. Oh, nice. I enjoy having mansliders myself.
Oh dear, I love you. That'll be a puppet show right there.
Yeah.
What do we have for dinner? We're having some mansliders. Well,
Oh, Lord. First-degree manslaughter. Okay. And he served 5 years. I think
it was like 10 to 20 years.
Yeah,
Sentence, but he only served 5.
Yeah, he only served 5.
Now you're spilling your drink. It is chaos in here.
It's just water, I swear. Despite these horrific events...
That's what he said.
what?
Dave got it.
It's just water, I swear.
All right. Despite these horrific events, the Glatzel family held on to the rocking chair, even when they moved.
Why?
I know.
Why? Because it was stored up in the attic.
I was going to say they kept it in storage.
Yeah, they threw it up in the attic because it was a crazy-ass chair.
Right.
So they're like, for some reason, they didn't get rid of it, which is an insane thing to do by itself.
Right.
And then they put it in the attic, and then they moved in. They're like, hey, don't forget, we have a psychotic rocking chair up in the attic.
Yeah.
Who's going to get that?
Well, they probably had like a moving company, and they were just hoping that the poor mover, it would go with that.
I would put, you could literally, it was in the 80s, right? This happened in the 80s. About this time that this happened, it was in the 1980s?
Yeah, it was 1980s when this happened.
Kind of in
with
there.
Glatzel.
They had the advent of pens and paper. So you could have leave this chair.
Right.
I mean, when I want to get rid of something, here where we are, we just put a free, like I said, a piece of paper that says free on it. We stick it out front, and lo and behold, somebody comes and takes it.
Now hold up.
Yeah.
Because they did the exorcism. Ed Warren had thrown holy oil and stuff on the chair. They probably thought, hey, everything is good now.
Right.
Our kid's fine. Arnie's not, but our kid is. So you wouldn't think that anything of the chair.
But it was stored up in the attic.
So you would think, if it was definitely a handmade piece of craftsmanship, you might want to keep it.
But if you're moving, why wouldn't you just take a piece of paper and write leave here
Right.
and just lay it on the chair, and then you just leave it
Because it was a family heirloom.
Yeah.
But they did say that anyone who ever sat in this suffered back aches, back pain, and one person who sat in it actually required surgery.
Yeah.
More to come about back pain later.
Right.
Yeah, and one close family member was unable to walk upright for more than 10 years after testing the legend of the chair.
Wow.
Why would you leave? Why would you take it with you?
That's good. That's assuming that they had any idea there was a problem with it.
Right.
They saw it move and levitate.
They thought
I did exorcism on the chair.
after an exorcism, maybe they thought it was fine.
Right.
Yeah. No, I was
It's like people get, their house blessed. They think it's okay. They don't sell the house because it's haunted. They get it blessed. Maybe they think things will be okay. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it is.
These people actually took the advice, and if there's something wrong in the house, they moved. But
well, I don't know when they moved.
they took the darn thing with them.
You are hung up on that. Let
I
it
know.
go.
I know. I'm just thinking, like, why wouldn't
It's part of the story. They took the chair.
people leave like washing dryers when they move out of a house? Why would they leave a goofy old haunted
Right.
chair?
Right.
I don't know.
This is sort of like the what was that Geico commercial of the why don't we just get in the running car?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right. Exactly. Like, no, why would you do that? Let's go stand behind the tool shed full of things that can kill you.
Right.
Now, in April of 2019, Zak Bagans purchased the chair from Carl Glatzel. This was David's brother for $67,000 because Carl was moving and he didn't want to take it with him anymore.
See,
Finally.
$67,000. I
Finally.
told you it was
Yeah.
a well-crafted piece of wood.
Yeah.
So I heard something different that he actually bought it from
But from a museum.
from Ed and Lorraine's
No.
museum.
I'm
I
not
found from the family member.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
from. It was actually, and I feel like Ed and Lorraine's daughter. What's her name? Do we know what her name is? Anyway, she actually had a whole thing on Twitter where she was like, "This chair didn't come from us. We didn't have it. It came from the Glatzels." So
Okay.
yeah,
Interesting.
And he
Yeah.
bought the chair just before Lorraine passed away.
Yes,
Right. So I
yeah.
had what
You
I
thought
saw,
maybe-
no. What I read was that it was in her possession, and he was able to negotiate sale of this right before she died, so he didn't have to worry about the estate and all of that.
Okay.
Oh, wow. You're making it sound.
Huh.
Yeah. Like he was really trying to get this, and
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, no, he bought it from Carl just a couple hours before she died.
Carl.
Yeah, from Carl.
Before
Anyway.
Lorraine died.
Shut it.
Just
So
Hope you choke on a manslaughter. No, I'm just kidding. I don't want you to choke.
yeah.
are you done?
Oh, that's Alicia.
Oh, I guess we forgot we were doing a podcast. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, she's getting ready to kill us all.
So Zak Bagans, he likes to collect haunted
Stuff.
and weird stuff,
Right.
and he opened up a museum. Of course, we all know about this, but he opened an exhibit on May 28th, 2019, of the chair. And had like a bunch. I think we were watching a video earlier today, and he even had some stuff that Lorraine Warren gave to the Glatzels for.
Yeah, I think the chair. You got the chair and some other artifacts from the Glatzels, so that he had he could make a section of his museum with some statues that they had, religious statues, some pictures to kind of paint a whole picture of the incident for the showing of the rocking chair, whatever that's supposed to mean.
Yeah.
So so to make because it's kind of like a museum. So when you get to the section, it's decorated with all the Glatzel stuff plus
Right.
the chair.
I was
Right.
half thinking it was just like an exhibit with like just an empty bay with a chair in it and a velvet rope. And he had to put the rope up so people weren't like, "Oh, it's a nice place to
No,
sit."
it looks like a
Right.
house like from the '80s, decorated with wallpaper and everything.
Yeah,
he
it
really
looks- it
he
looks
went all
cool.
out to make this
Yeah.
look legit.
like lots of neon.
Now he was showing this around to
The 80s.
Entertainment Tonight, their one host Kevin Frazier, but he was showing it the chair to this guy, and the host was getting a little freaked out, and Zach was like, "Oh, touch it," and he was asking,
Talking about his mansliders again?
yeah. But the guy was like, "Why would I don't want to touch it?" But he asked Zach, "Would you sit in it?" But Zach's like, "Yeah, he wants to have an experience. He would
Right.
sit in it to see if anything happened." But they're freaking out, and then the guy starts saying like, "Hey, man, I'm not kidding." And the guy didn't touch the chair. He's like, "My back is starting to hurt really bad." And Zach's like, "Serious?" He's like, "Yeah." So he's like, "Hey, let's get out here." And I guess Zach he did sit in it, but on Twitter, Zach posted, "Weird. After sitting in the devil chair, my back did 100% hurt afterwards. So much so, I could not sleep because of it. It is still sore, but not as bad. And I did not strain it, picking anything up heavy or whatever. And there was a reply on Twitter from the Entertainment Tonight host. He said, dude, seriously, my back hurts so bad, I had to make an appointment with the doctor.
Oh, my gosh.
So that's pretty weird.
Yeah. Now, shortly after he opened it...
I wonder if you're a chiropractor, you could just put that chair out in the lobby. Keep people coming back.
Right.
Well,
Repeat
if
business.
people are going to the chiropractor anyway, they're already having issues.
Right,
So
but
why
then
would
it's not going to get solved right there. It takes a day or so for it to come back, and it's a repeat thing. I think that's a good idea.
Well, I'm glad you're not a chiropractor.
I know.
Right.
Because we already know that you have some less than
Scrupulous.
scrupulous. Yeah, your
Yeah.
business ethics.
Yeah. Seem to be a little soft when it comes to drumming a business.
So, shortly after he opened this exhibit, 6 people, 5 being his tour guides, broke into uncontrollable weeping while near it. Now, one person even collapsed on the stairs. I guess the chair is like located underneath the stairs. Right. So they collapsed like on top of it. And even before the exhibit opened, Zak claimed that a small door opened on its own and a power cord was yanked out of the wall. He claims also that the chair is responsible for the light above it going out on its own. And doors have been known to lock themselves as well. He says that visitors to the museum have felt a menacing aura surrounding the chair, causing nightmares, tension, and arguments among people who come near it. And the shipper who actually picked up the rocking chair from the Glatzel house said that he was plagued by terrible nightmares after coming into contact with it. Now
Why would you take the chair with you when you moved?
I know. Well, I mean, just even looking at it, I was like, it's not really like a super fancy rocking chair.
No, it's not all that. It looks kind of hard. It doesn't look super comfortable. And it's like the only way you'd be able to see it would be through like binoculars. You'd have to be so far away because if you get close to it, something's going to happen. You're going to hurt your back.
Right.
Or I don't know.
Your observation on this
Is dead on.
Yeah.
I know.
Now, Zak also claims that the chair caused a chain of strange emotions within himself and a friend of his. He and his friend were sitting in Zak's home, and he felt an evil presence lurking between them. Zak's dog began to growl, and then he lowered his head, Zak did, and began speaking strangely on the topic of God and the devil.
But look, Zak gets possessed every other episode of the Ghost Adventure.
Yeah.
His friend then began sobbing and ran out of the house, and he blames all of this on the chair. So
The chair that's in a completely different location from his house.
Yeah, I
Just
don't
maybe
know.
They brought an attachment.
Yeah, did maybe this happened after he sat in it? I don't know.
I don't know.
Right. Now, I did see they closed the exhibit after like 3 months. Like,
Yeah, but then here's the thing. I just found a TripAdvisor review of it from 2021, and somebody mentioned it. Like, so.
Yeah, I think he closed it in 2019 for a bit, but
Yeah.
I think I read a statement. He's like, not sure when I'm going to reopen it. So obviously, it must be a big enough draw. He's like, you know what?
Yeah.
Let's open it back up.
Yeah. Now, speaking of that review, would you guys like to hear?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, do tell.
This is from 256 Regina M. It was everything I expected and more. This place is...
All right. Good review.
I know.
Nice chair.
Yeah. This place is very interesting and had way more than I was expecting. The wait was very minimum, about 20 minutes. There wasn't hardly anybody there, I guess. We came on a good day. The rooms were filled with all kinds of creepy oddities and celebrity and serial killer memorabilia, including some of the ashes from Charles Manson. I took my husband with me, who was a non-believer, and he came out a believer at the end of the tour. He was deeply affected by the museum, and he became very nauseous and broke out in sweats, and he became very nervous to be there. He started feeling bad and almost quit the tour. And when we were reviewing the Devil's Rocking Chair, he said something touched him on the neck. We did the VIP tour and were allowed to go to the basement where supposedly a child was murdered during a devil-worshipping ritual.
Good times.
Of course,
good
I know.
times.
Down there is a nonstop EVP going. Sorry, this is just
Read it. That's
know.
how it was typed.
going. And as soon as we went down, it said the name of our daughter, which is Maddie, twice. We told no one our kids' names or even talked with anyone about our kids. The reason I only gave the 4 stars was the people who worked there were not that friendly.
What?
I know.
Zach, sit them down in the rocking chair and have a talking with them.
I know you're constantly surrounded by negative energy, but come on.
Right, yeah.
Be nice for Pete's sake. Come on.
Except for the guy in the carnival part that does the sideshow act. He was excellent and very nice. And you only get a few minutes to tour each room. And another complaint was the bathroom situation.
There's more to that review.
I
I would
know.
like you to read.
Okay.
Oh.
If you're standing in line, you're not allowed to go inside and use the restroom until you go to the lobby. There is a gross, nasty porta potty out there with no toilet paper, and it is almost completely filled to the rim of urine and feces.
See, that is more haunting than that devil's rocking chair to me.
Yeah.
That is the devil's porta john.
You're right, yeah.
Imagine if that started levitating and shaking around and
Oh my God.
going upside down.
You would think that they could get it emptied for all the tourists spending in their hard-on money there.
The one,
I know.
Their what money?
I know. That's what it says. They're hard.
Wait, what's going on in this
I
museum?
Overall, it was a great experience, other than the minor situation with the bathroom, not so friendly staff. I would recommend it, but it's not for the faint of heart.
Yeah, see, that is my nightmare.
I know.
A porta john like that.
Yeah.
So what if you took the
And you
devil?
just had a couple mansliders and you really got to go.
You take the devil's rocking chair, okay? You put it in the porta potty and you strap it down, okay? Then you do the exorcism, and then the porta john, because it's strapped down, the chair is going to levitate a little bit. That way you can just levitate. It'd be really easy to get those out of there, the porta johns. Then it just levitates. It picks up the whole porta potty, and you could just kind of push it out of the way and get it out of there off in the distance, so you don't have to deal with it, because it probably stinks to high heaven. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I think the problem is whoever has the contract didn't come by and empty
They
it.
need to empty it.
Well, that would be a way for Zach and his staff to be able to resolve that issue.
Okay.
You know, that would be an easy way. Wouldn't even cost anything. You could just levitate the chair.
Yeah.
It's just what's going to get worse about a porta potty. It's just going to get worse in there. It's just going to smell worse.
This sounds like the Mjolnir in the elevator.
Yeah, kind of the thing.
Scenario.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. See,
Not at all.
we're on the same page, kind of, more or less.
All right, dear.
Yep.
Excellent. Well, I tell you what. Why don't we take a quick break, and we're going to come back, and Nash is going to tell us how to invest that hard-on money. We'll be right back. And we're back. All right. Very interesting first half of the show.
Yep.
Now, Dave, you had a couple comments, and Nash, you had a couple questions. So, Dave.
Yeah. I just thought it was interesting on the topic of Artie. So when he was committing the murder, it was actually in front of his fiancée. She was there.
watched.
She witnessed the whole thing. That's obviously something that's going to be scarred in your brain. But when he was released 5 years later, one of the first things he did was marry her. So she obviously believed him that he wasn't.
Yeah,
in control,
she must
and-
have been wholehearted, like his primary witness, to say, no, this is. I agree with him. This is not the way he normally is.
Right.
And it's just one of those. If she lived through that scenario and kept in her head and still stayed with him, then that's lends some credence to the whole story.
Right. And Lorraine Warren, she said she stuck to that the whole time. What she saw, what she said, everything about this story was it's true.
Yeah.
All the way up until her death. So.
Well, and she'd be a fantastic way to gauge that, because she had seen so much of it with her little brother and in the house. She would be a perfect one to say, no, this wasn't him. She would almost, I don't want to say be an expert on it, but an expert almost at witnessing these occurrences.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, in 2007, Carl and David Glatzel,
Crazy Carl.
they filed a lawsuit against Lorraine Warren and Gerald Brittle for their involvement in writing the Devil in Connecticut book. According to Carl and other members of his family, David had been suffering from a mental illness rather than any sort of demon possession. Carl stated, "My brother was never possessed. He, along with my family, was manipulated and exploited, something the Warrens were very good at. And along with their author, which is Gerald Brittle, they concocted a phony story about demons in an attempt to get rich and famous at our expense. And we have the evidence to prove it." Carl continued, "The Warrens told my family numerous times that we would be millionaires and the book would help get my sister's boyfriend, Arnie, out of jail."
Interesting.
So, I know.
Did you find how that lawsuit resolved?
No.
Okay.
Oh, man.
No.
I really want to know.
We got to get a research team on this.
Yeah.
So my questions had to do with no, it was just the possession of the chair. Because it seemed like whatever demon possessed it in the very beginning, okay, once the child was out of it and the demon was gone, I don't know if it's, we've talked about before about places being like a magnet for demons and spirits, and I'm assuming that the chair kind of did that also.
Well, lots of times objects are kind of magnets for possession.
Well, because I'm reading these stories and I'm listening to how everything kind of went down, and I'm like, okay, well, it sounds like the things that are happening to people with them are getting their backs hurt, and some of the other things that are happening don't seem like the same MO for the demon that originally possessed it with the child, because he was just causing physical harm to the one child. Mm-hmm. So I was like, okay, well, I'm going to kind of put that in the parking lot for a second. These things, if you're just near it, you're just close to this chair or around it, you're going to get hurt in some way. And I thought, well, then there was a story of Zak was saying about the chair causing lights to be shut off, doors to be closed. What was that list? There was a couple other things that were happening. And I'm reading this list and I'm thinking, that wasn't a demon who did that. That was a spirit of a deceased father. Some dad somewhere got stuck, was like checking out the chair in the afterlife and got stuck there, because those are the behaviors that I do at my house every night.
Stop pounding on the table.
And I have a ring on too, so it's really loud. Because I go through and you turn off all the lights at, when you go to bed, you make sure the doors are closed and windows are shut. I was like, that doesn't seem like necessarily a concerned, or not concerned, but it seemed like a demon thing causing problems. I see that as somebody actually like, I do those behaviors all the time, and I'm not trying to kill anybody. I'm just making sure that the house lights are turned off, and maybe Zak left the lights on and the door is open, and he went through and shut the doors and turned the lights off. So I'm thinking, so you have possibly a couple different occurrences that don't follow the MO of the original demon that lived there, who was scratching and biting and hurting people and levitating. And there was an image, I think it was from the movie The Conjuring, where the kid was like on the table, bent over backwards.
That's The Conjuring 2?
Snapped his spine. I don't know, whatever. Doing these incredibly malicious things. And then these other MOs.
The kid?
No, the demon was doing these things to the kid and other people. You got to follow along, Mark.
It's extremely difficult to follow what you're saying.
I was just thinking
now.
that when the demon specifically, that demon is no longer possessing the chair, but the chair is still a beacon to other things and spiritual activity that's coming around it.
Like, look, I'll entertain this because you were talking for 5 minutes. You're saying like the chair possesses could be causing the lights to go out, the doors to be shut. You were talking about some spirit of a concerned father.
Yeah, just to other spirits. It's just like a beacon to other spirits.
It doesn't necessarily have to be the chair. He's got this museum filled with tons of artifacts.
That's true.
That building could be crawling.
You're right.
With spirits.
With every kind
and
under the sun.
One could be a dad concerned about the electric bill, so he's shutting the lights off. Or
walking around muttering to myself, nobody else does this in the house. Why do I have no...
turning the thermometer down to 69.
I got to get it cold. I don't know. I just saw a couple different things with regards to the chair, but you're right about it's in the museum that is chock full of just under the sun, everything that's happening, and stinky-ass porta potties outside.
Right. Yeah.
So I agree with that.
No, I was thinking...
Did you agree with
I'm going to change my stance, but not much. Not much.
I was thinking it was more with the as
Dave, what happened to your voice there for a second?
yeah, I don't know, right through it. But
Wait,
it's
who
rocking
came
chair.
back from the Hollow Earth?
Are you molting?
As the the exorcism, the demon was pulled out and sent into Artie. There was a residual that was left behind. The demon's stink, if you will, left on the chair.
Some stank?
Yeah.
Left some stank there?
And that's what has been there. And, if the chair had the cushions on it, maybe it's just the...
Did they wash the cushions?
Yeah, maybe the cushions just need cleaned or thrown out. The chair's actually fine.
The chair's fine, but the cushions
Like
are
if
not.
the devil was farting on the cushion.
Right.
It has that residual
Right.
Yes.
odor.
Yeah, you just can't get the smell out.
Okay.
And
You got to wash it.
That's why I had an aura around it.
Right.
Because you come next to the chair and you're like, dang, somebody's been mansliding in this chair all the time. And now it's hurting people. It's getting to their senses.
yeah.
I got Stephanie on the line. Stephanie, can you confirm that's how the cushions are in your house?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Just certain ones. That's all.
All right. All right. Are we good?
Yep.
Yeah.
With the devil's rocking chair?
Yeah.
I just a quick note, if we ever get an opportunity to travel out to Vegas,
Right.
I really, really want to go
I know.
to the
I
museum.
totally want to go.
Yeah. I want to see this for real, but all the other stuff is got. I just think
You want to hit that porta potty? Nice.
No,
Dude.
no.
I like where your head's
no.
at.
No.
I'm probably going to go to the bathroom before we go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's Vegas. You can just go in the streets. It's okay.
I looking this up, I found other haunted chairs. Now we know haunted artifacts. We've heard all about that. Antiques could be haunted. You buy this, but a chair. Since it's on topic for today's discussion, I did find another chair called the Thomas Busby's stoop chair. So the legend goes that,
Like a rocking chair also?
or maybe it's one you put on your front porch, stoop
That's
chair.
right.
Okay.
I'm not sure. I don't know.
Yeah, you went out front.
But so Thomas Busby killed his father-in-law with a hammer, all because the dude sat in his favorite chair.
What?
That's rough.
Yeah.
That's some hard disciplinary action.
That's if Sheldon is a psychopath.
yeah, 100%.
So he hid his father-in-law's body in the woods, but he eventually was found out, and he was sentenced to death. So he was hanged, tarred, and put in the gallows, is what this says. Was
he tarred?
This is the part of the story I'm not sure about. But he would scream, may sudden death come to anyone who dare sit in my chair. So maybe he screamed that out before they tarred and feathered him and hung him.
Well,
The chair is now in the Thirsk Museum in North Yorkshire, England. And the story goes that people have sat in it because it's a cursed chair and, they just want to check stuff out. But anybody who sat in it has suffered, one person suffered brain tumor.
Oh.
Some people have been in car crashes after sitting in this chair.
Wow.
And it got to the point that the museum hung it from the ceiling so nobody could just walk in and sit down on it.
Right.
It was getting that bad. So that chair actually sounds worse than the other one.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I will say a brain tumor isn't exactly a swift or sudden death.
No.
So that's
That's why I said this chair sounds worse than the other one.
yeah.
that's a very drastic. Oh my gosh, I agree with you 100%. Thank you for hanging that on the wall or hanging it up. My God, get people out of that chair.
All right. We are going to jump into some listener feedback. Here we go. I felt like it should be brought to you by Mansliders.
By Low Rains Mansliders. Why?
We heard from Anthony. Hey, guys. Long time, no right. I was listening to your most recent episode, episode 143 on the mill race monster. Imagine my surprise when this covered a place that is literally 200 yards from my front porch.
Wow.
I have lived in Columbus, Indiana, on and off for the better part of the last 30 years.
You just be quiet over there. Very close to Columbus, Ohio.
Not at all. And thought this might be what it was about. There are a few points that I need to make about this story, though. First, the Mill Race Park of 1974 was a very different place than the Mill Race Park of today. Prior to being a park, it was Skid Row, or Death Valley. Many impoverished families lived there because of the Pennsylvania Railroad switchyard that was there. In an effort to clean that up, the city once the railroad was gone, elected to turn the front part of this to maybe not so much a park, but a parking lot near the woods. And they put in a boat ramp. This was still a very, very rough part of town, frequented by addicts, drunks, and workers of the night. The only real landmark aside from the covered bridge and boat ramp was a sleazy hourly rate hotel. This was not someplace you took the kids for a picnic. In fact, the reason much of the woods was cleared and a full park built was due to a biker gang war that took place there. Nash nailed it. Anyone who went down there was getting loaded.
That's right.
Part of the reason the cops basically laughed at the first witness. The next thing you have to bear in mind is our location. Columbus sits on an island, literally surrounded on all sides by water. It also sits on one of the largest underground tributaries in the U.S., which is fed over millions of years by limestone caves and tunnels. It is not anywhere near Gary, by the way, so Nash's theory fails to hold water.
I'm shooting 50%. I'm still batting 500 here.
We are, however, near the Hoosier National Forest, Brown County State Park, and really at north end of Ohio River Valley. Now, that being said, on the monster, one thing to note, much of that area is still very marshy. Part of the improvement that took place in the 90s was to put in paved walking trails around the river, and still there are 4 marshes on the opposite side along the walk. So likely the slime was moss. Living in close proximity, I will also note it floods annually, usually in the spring. There really have been no reports of monsters since the 70s, however. There is a cryptid that has been referred to by people I know as the Beast of 250 North. The description is very similar, save for the smell and the slime. Anyway, as always, a great episode and hits close to home, so double bonus. Well, thanks, Anthony. Appreciate all that info.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks.
We heard from Indiana Johnny. Great episode this week. I really enjoyed hearing about a cryptid from just down the road from me.
Oh.
I live just about 45 minutes to an hour west of Columbus, Indiana. Nash's theory definitely couldn't work. He mentioned the train station in Gary as being part of the creature being in Columbus. One big problem is that Columbus and Gary are just about at opposite ends of the state from each other. Columbus is in south central Indiana, between Indy and Louisville. Gary is in northwest Indiana, up close to Chicago. There are several hours from each other. Other than that, it was a great episode. Thanks, Indiana Johnny.
Yeah.
I was
going to give you a moment.
I will fire the crack research team that I have.
Okay.
Yeah, my support team, they're fired.
So turn in your tiny little notebook.
Yeah.
We heard from Gavin. Gavin from New Zealand.
All right.
Nice.
Recently, the family and I visited Napier, which is approximately 6 hours from Auckland City, New Zealand's largest city. And while there, we decided we would visit the Napier Prison and take their ghost tour. This consists of being given an MP3 player preloaded with someone explaining about the different areas as you move around. As we moved into the main prison block, I wandered ahead of the group and read some of the information about prison life that was on the walls. After a couple minutes, my wife Rachel came to the same area. First thing she said to me was, "I can smell a hint of smoke." I just stared at her and pointed to the information panel. She read it and went, "Oh my God." The information panel said that the prisoners used to cause small fires to produce soot to use in prison tattoos. I couldn't smell a thing. We continued around the prison and ended up in another cell block. I was listening to the recorded information at this stage and had wandered ahead of the group again. As I came back out of the cell block, Rachel walked into the area, and a minute later I heard her call me. I went and found her in one of the rooms, and she said to me, "I heard a baby cry." I looked at her and said, "Have you been listening to the recorded info?" "No," was her answer. She found it too boring, and the speaker they used just had a drone-on voice. "Why?" she asked. I said to her, "You're in the mother and child unit." It freaked her out a bit. Thankfully, we didn't bring anything home with us.
Oh, that's good.
If you're ever in NZ, it's worth a visit. Thanks, Gavin.
Yeah.
And it would be intense.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, hearing a baby without hearing just some baby crying in that unit. Oh my gosh,
Right.
That'd be terrible. Also, listening to a narrator who's just kind of drones on, monotone like that, kind of puts you to sleep.
Yeah.
Sometimes that can really get you.
Oh, I know what you're trying to do. But it ain't going to work. Well, We heard from Old Stuff Yellow Bird. Have you guys ever heard of Willow's Weep House in Indiana? That house seems to have a lot of weird history to it and was built to look like a cross. Might be a show idea if you guys want to look into it for the podcast. Yes, actually, we were just watching William Shatner, his TV show on Netflix, and that house was on there, and it looked, I was interested.
Yeah.
So we'll throw it on the list, Old Stuff Yellowbird.
Yes.
Appreciate it. Would you like to send us feedback or a paranormal story? Well, just go to paranormalpunchers.com. You find all the ways to contact us. All right. All this stuff about haunted objects. I'm like, okay, houses can be haunted, objects in the house can be haunted, and I found an article I'd like to just run by you guys. It's 13 conclusive symptoms to determine if my house is haunted.
Oh.
So, first, number 1.
Here we go.
How to tell if your house is haunted. Number 1, flickering lights.
Okay.
Now, Zach was talking about some flickering light action.
Yep.
But also it can mean your wiring is shite and you need to call an electrician.
I just had that in my stairwell, so I went and changed the light bulb.
Good.
It ran out.
Now, that happened at the tap room 2 weeks ago.
Oh.
About 11 a.m. when they were getting the lights on, getting ready to get set to open the doors, the lights were flickering. So the bartender at the time was like, man, what is going on? She made a comment about haunted. I'm like, this building is supposed to be haunted. And freaked her out a little bit.
Of course.
I'm sure in the case of the tap room, it was the electricity, the wiring.
Right.
Number 2, exploding light bulbs. Now, this one could still, again, be electrical, but if you walk into a room and a light bulb blows up, what would you think?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm trying to think of how much electricity has to run through something to make the light bulb explode.
Yeah.
I don't know.
All right. Number 3, chairs moved at night. So you go to bed, you wake up the next day, and your kitchen chairs are now at the opposite end of the room. Would that freak you out?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Number 4, cold air in your house.
Oh, God, I could really use that in our house.
So you would welcome.
I would welcome some cold air in the house.
I usually keep the house cool enough that I don't know that I would notice any cooler.
It would just be nothing. You'd be a fan of
It would actually feel like warm air at that point.
Now, it would be like if you were walking around your room and then hit a cold spot all of a sudden.
Yep.
That would be strange, but it also could be have drafts you need to, seal up the house. All right. Number 5 sign that your house could be haunted. Your pets are acting strange.
Okay.
Looking at something that's not there. Barking at something that's not there. Has that ever happened to you guys?
Yes.
Oh, really?
Yeah. No, but my dog is very neurotic, so it's. I just think that's him.
Yeah, my cats don't bark.
Would they ever look at something that's
They're
not
always on crack. They're always looking at the wall, or I don't know. They're cats, so I figure they see him anyway.
Number 6, a gut feeling. Now, I don't know about this one.
You just had that, Dave.
Thanks, Nash.
You just got to put him on Front Street there about his gut issue.
Your gut feeling, huh?
Yeah.
Now, this one is ridiculous because you just can't walk around. It's like, nah, my gut tells me this place is haunted.
Right.
I mean, I understand some people can be sensitive and they get a feeling,
Right.
but I don't know. That's when you call in the experts.
Right.
Yeah. You just don't go with your gut and move. Number 7. Now, this one, I think, would definitely signal your house is haunted.
Yeah.
Objects flying through the air.
Yeah.
Yeah. The ones before this,
Right.
you could probably,
Right.
debunk it. But if they're objects flying through the air, I think it's a poltergeist.
Right.
Number 8, orbs of light in photos.
Okay.
Again, not a major deal because it could be a little bug. It could be some dust on your lens.
Right.
Number 9, household items misplaced. Now, has this ever happened to you?
Like every day.
Okay. So sometimes, I tell you, I went in the bedroom the other day, took my watch off, and just dropped it on the bed because I was going to get a shower, and it's right there. I came back out of the shower, and it was on the floor.
Oh.
So now, was it part of the flying object situation,
Did it
but I
bounce?
didn't put it there.
Right.
Did it bounce and then fall on the floor and you just didn't notice and you walked away?
It's quite possible.
Or were you getting alerts in it?
Now, was it
vibrated?
misplaced? I never had that happen, where I can't find something and I find it where there's no way I would ever put it here.
Right.
Has that ever
Right.
happened to you guys?
All the time. We have an object right now. My wife has a set of tweezers of all things. That's like she keeps them separate in a separate container, whatnot, and she puts them in the exact same place. I've never seen these things, and nobody else has except for my wife, and she can't find them. So I guarantee she'll probably find them somewhere. I don't know, but right now we're in that process right now where it's disappeared. Nobody knows where it is. I'm kind of excited to see where it ends up.
All right. Great. Number 10, seeing shadows around your house. And I'm talking about the kind of shadows that aren't cast by lighting. It's kind of are in the corner and then move.
Right.
So, again, have you guys... I already told
I have
my
not.
story about the shadow man.
I have not seen anything like that at our house.
Good. Then you're okay. Number 11, hearing voices
Yeah, but that's all the time.
in your head.
Yeah. I got to tell them to keep it down every once in a while,
Right.
Now, that's something would freak me out if you're hearing voices
Yeah.
around your house and there's no one there. There's no one out in the sidewalk. There's no, you know what I mean?
Right.
I've had that experience at the old house. That's another reason I use the fan. Because I always say, the evil's in the quiet.
Right.
Right.
When it's so quiet, you can start to hear. That's why I use the fan because I hear voices.
It's too quiet. It's quiet. It's too quiet.
Number 12, weird historical background. All right, so this part's a joke. Just because
Right.
a house is old and maybe something went down there doesn't make it haunted. Or if your house is in Gettysburg, it's not automatically means it's haunted, but
Right.
it could be.
Yeah.
And finally, number 13, creaking floors.
Yeah.
But when no one's walking on them.
Right. That honestly, at one point, the wife and kids went on a trip, and I was home by myself. And I get up at my normal time. I'm sitting there. I'm watching the news, and at the time when they typically would be up, there was a lot of noise upstairs.
Really?
The floors were definitely like they were being walked on,
Like the floor was anticipating their steps.
something like that.
Like it was making the creak when they would normally be walking across. But
Right.
they weren't there, but it was
Right.
still making the same sounds.
Yes, there wasn't sound of footfalls. There was just sound of typically you would hear the floor creak with a footfall. There was no footfall. It was just the floor creaking.
Now, I know Lish has a creaking floor story.
Yeah. Well, I used to hear, when I got up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom, I would hear somebody walking outside.
This was at our old townhome.
Yeah. Walking outside the bathroom. And of course, nobody else is awake at that point. Everybody's sleeping. And so that always freaked me out because I was like,
and you said it sounded like you thought it was me pacing.
yeah, I was like, oh
'cause
God, I
needed
need
go
to
the bathroom.
hurry.
But
Yeah.
then I was sound asleep.
yeah.
Wow.
So weird. And it happened, I would say it happened at least 5 or 6 times. It might have been more than that. I don't even know.
Was that around
but
the same time as when I saw the Shadow Man? The Hat Man?
It might have been, yeah.
Yeah, that was the Hat Man. He was just waiting for you. He had to go.
He had to go.
He had to take care of his things. also.
Did it happen after I told the Hat Man to go pound sand? Did it stop?
You know what? I don't even remember. That was.
We
years
all know
ago,
that last
so.
house, so you had some interesting stuff happening in there. So it was probably the Hat Man. He was probably upset that you gave your wife to him.
Yeah.
And he was he's really hoping to knock you out and take the wife, but you were like, no, take her anyway, whatever. I'm just going to go back to sleep.
Wow.
So he was, pacing around the house like, what else can I do?
Okay. All right, there's they go. 13 signs that your house may be haunted. I found that on a real estate website. I'm sure they're having fun.
Ha.
Wow.
Brotherly Love Real Estate. But it led me to think, you know what?
Philly?
If any of our listeners out there on the East Coast, since we're on the East Coast,
Right.
if your house is showing any of these signs, these symptoms, and you want Paranormal Punchers to come and investigate,
Oh God.
reach out to us. Just go to our website. You'll find all the ways to contact us. We do have a few stipulations. We have a rider. Nash, I'm pretty sure in the rider, the fridge must be stocked full of beer.
Nice.
Right, Dave, you want the green M&Ms.
Right.
That's in the rider for Dave.
Yeah.
Lish, what's in the rider for you?
Working bathroom.
Okay. And, yeah, I mean, just cook us some barbecue. So,
Yeah.
if you can agree with our writer and your house is haunted, we'll come out and investigate.
That's right.
Our slogan back when it was a web series was, we take your paranormal problem and punch it in the face. That's why we're the Paranormal Punchers.
Right.
All right. Hey, no, I'm serious. If you live close enough that we can come out and do an investigation, we got your back. Okay.
What?
That's it.
That's it.
That's it. That's the end of the show.
Yeah.
That's all I have.
Okay.
Okay.
Dave, do you have anything?
I'm good.
Liz, you good?
I am good. Yeah.
Give us a. I'm sorry. Nash, are you good?
I'm good.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you like our show, drop us a 5-star on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you listen to this show. We would appreciate it. It really help us out. Yeah. That's it. I have nothing else to say.
Okay.
I know there's something I'm supposed to say, but it won't pop into my head.
If anybody listening to the show wants to post on our forum what they think mansliders look like, it'd be great.
Oh, yeah.
That's going to be rough.
Yeah. That's what I was supposed to say. Hey, we were nominated for Best Comedy Paranormal Podcast by Paranormality Magazine. So if you go on to our Facebook, the Facebook group, there'll be a link. We'll have a link on our Instagram. So, hey, man, if you like the show, vote for us. We're up against some heavy hitters, so any support, love that you can show, it'd be awesome. Yeah. Awesome to be an award-winning podcast.
I know.
In my heart, I know we are an award-winning podcast,
Right, yeah.
but hey, man, we're not above accepting.
We want something more than the participation trophy.
Right.
Okay, exactly.
Yeah.
All right, that's it. And like we say around here, if it's not a manslaughter,
It's not worth checking out.